So before we start, let me remind you that event itself will last about 6 hours. We will also have time for your questions after each speaker's presentation. You can ask your questions in the chat. Please remember that it is better to ask questions during the scheduled time for this, so as not to interrupt our amazing speakers. And also between presentations, we will have some breaks. Of course, this online event will be recorded and all participants can watch it again later. So let's get started. And the first to speak today will be the representative of AVEM Aero, the company which is 5 years in the urgent air charter market. The speaker himself has 17 years of experience in this niche. Welcome, Managing Director of AVEM Aero, Nikolay Kurbanov. Nikolay?
Thank you very much, and you are welcome. Let me share my presentation. And ladies and gentlemen, you're welcome on our webinar. And I'm happy to be a first speaker on the topic organizing urgent charter, organizing urgent cargo charters, step-by-step guide. And let me introduce first myself a bit. My name is Nikolay, and I'm Managing Director of AVEM Aero. I have more than 17 years of experience in urgent cargo charters, and I'm a big fan of digitalization on aviation industry. This would be my favorite topic, but for this specific topic, we asked another speaker who has a lot of experience, and I'm so excited to hear him. So also for whom this webinar is. This is for this event for brokers and logistic managers. I hope you will find a lot of new and useful things during my talk. And I hope you find...
I'm so sorry.
Sorry
for interrupting. We can't see next slides. We just see the first one.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, and I hope you will find several good ideas from this webinar. And by the end of this webinar, you will have a clear and simple understanding how to manage the charter, and you will be much better prepared and professional. So about AVEM Aero, a few words about AVEM Aero. We are specializing on air cargo charter service. We are operating, we are on the market since 2019, so 5 years already, and that's why we have decided to celebrate it with such event. We are operating with Antonov 26 in, sorry, not more, but with SAF 340 in ATR 72 in Europe, North Africa, and Middle East. Also, we are offering OCC outsourced service third company airlines. So let's start. Before we deeply dive into the world of urgent charter, let's just clear some basic information. What is actually urgent charter is? There are two key things you need to understand about the charters. They're tailored and critical. Why they're tailored? Because it's like a tailor-made suitcase for your needs, and it's perfectly designed for your specific task. And it is time critical because it is the fastest way to arrange delivery from point A to point B. And we can go further. The key difference, I think we should cover a bit the difference between regular scheduled flights and charter flights. First of all, for preparing scheduled flights, you may have about 1 month in advance to prepare everything, and you're preparing the scheduled flights for 1 month, for 3 months, or even for 1 season. By the charter, you operate only on your specific needs and your request. Also, with the charter, you're flexible with choosing airport of origin and departure. As well, you are very flexible with the timing. So you don't have to wait any fixed schedule flights. You can choose timing as soon as your cargo will be ready. And specifics of urgent cargo charters. So it's ideal for time-sensitive cargo. Imagine you're auto manufacturer, and recently you realized that you're missing critical parts, and to reduce idle of assembly line time, you need to get it as soon as possible. And then the charter solution is perfectly suited for you. Another case, it is, imagine you are in hospital and you're caring about your patient, and you need some very urgent medical supplies. And definitely the charter will be the perfect solution for you. You may think that speed and urgency would cost a lot of you, but not in this case, because as you're reducing idle of your assembly line time, you are saving a lot. And can we say that the saving lives could be too expensive? Of course not. That's why we think that this is really cost-effective solution. Let me take some water, please. Okay. Next one. Oh, how many we have here? So another thing you should know about the urgent charters, they're just urgent. Another example, the difference between the regular scheduled flights and charter flights. As I said, you need at least, you will have at least 1 month in advance to prepare in scheduled flights. But for the charter flights, you have to have just 2 hours to be ready for departure, and you and your team should work 10 times faster. Also, plans rarely match reality, so you always it's always better to have a plan B. But we will uncover this topic additionally on the next slides. And then organizing charters involves many parallel processes, like assess airports, requesting handlings, ramp handling, cargo handling, refueling, communication with the crew, client, with the truck, with everyone. And you need to be focused on the many parallel processes. Swift action required. You have to be ready for a quick making decision. This is like a must-have habit. Also, you should have well-defined action algorithm. This is really critical for making quick decision. Also, success depends on your proactivity. I really like this topic, and we will uncover this later on. And the key still staying strong during unexpected challenges. Yes, right. You have to be ready for some unexpected turns. You have to be ready to begin all preparation from the beginning, because something goes wrong. So let's move on. And now you can see this iceberg analogy. And as you can see, that small part at the top is what the client sees. But a lot of processes hiding behind the scene. And this is what we would like to uncover here. We split our presentation for external actions, what is actually a client sees, and internal actions, what is actually happened in the airline. And I would say this is, for some of you, it will be so easy, but anyway, we have to unclear it as is step-by-step guide. But anyway, as we have a time limitation, I'm not going to deeply investigate all of this, but just discover it a bit. Okay, in case you have questions, you can leave it in the chat, and we will answer you later on. So first of all, all charters began from the quote, and receive the quote. We could receive it by email, by WhatsApp, by phone call, and we provide the client with the quote. It could take up to 1 minute because we are using our specific internal software, which help us to do it very fast and smart and clear. But just in case it's not a regular route and unknown airports, or it's difficult to calculate the payload straight away, we need more time. It could take from 5 to 10 minutes. Then after some negotiation, the client confirmed the flight. But what is going on in internal processes? So first of all, as soon as we receive requests, we have to check aircraft availability. Then we have to check the crew availability and crew duty times. For sure, we have to confirm payload, definitely. Before we quote, we have to be sure that the cargo will fit perfectly into the aircraft. Then we have to assess airport operation, services, NOTAMs, and weather. Actually, interesting thing that the NOTAMs mean notification to airmen, and I never know it before we prepared for this this webinar. This is a funny thing. So, and of course, we have to prepare the best schedule. It shouldn't be tight. We should be on safe side, because to plan tight schedule on the beginning, this is not the right thing as we think. So let's move on. As we said, after some negotiation, the client confirmed the flight. It could be by email, by chat, by phone, doesn't matter. The best charter confirmation we received is just one board. It's just booked from by WhatsApp, and that's it. Absolutely enough for us to start preparation. In case the client confirmed the charter by phone, even by phone, Nikolay, it's confirmed, then I don't have even signed contract to start preparation. But of course, we are following all procedures as we should. So we're preparing charter confirmation and the contract and send to the client. And of course, we inform the client about each flight stages as well as the crew movements. What is going on inside of the charter of the airline? Sorry. As soon as we get a charter confirmation, we put all details to the system, to our internal system, which are checking flight time, crew time limitation, weather, NOTAMs, everything, to avoid any human mistakes. As I told you, we are a big fan of digitalization, and believe that such systems should assist to the sales manager and should assist to the charter operations. And then we create and confirm the schedule, choose reliable suppliers. It's very important stage to choose reliable suppliers. It's like creating dream team, because you have to be sure with whom you are going to perform your flight. And by choosing not the correct one or wrong or slow one, you may lose your flight. Yeah, this is a very important thing. Sometimes we have a choice, sometimes we don't have a choice, but it's better to know with whom you are going to deal with. Afterwards, as soon as we have confirmed schedule, we inform the crew. Not before, because we don't like to disturb the crew before we have the schedule settled. And the crew started preparation for the flight and arranging transportation seamlessly in like a parallel processes. We request a RAM handling service, cargo handling service, slots, refueling, etc. And of course, we obtained some permissions, if any. Afterwards, we contact all requested suppliers to be confirmed that they received our request and they are working on it and everything is correct. Afterwards, we are preparing the flight plan, crew briefing, and we send it to the crew through ground handling service. Okay, next one. So as soon as everything is ready and we are ready for departure, we update the client with movement messages and with all critical stages, and we want to keep the client as up to date as possible if they're in our office with us. And also we're sharing some aircraft, some loading and unloading photos as for memory, for our memories and for clients' memory as well. And what is happening actually? And we are continuously monitoring weather and NOTAMs. We're not doing manually, it's our system doing it automatically, because we faced several situations which show us we have to do it. One of them, we operated the flight out of, if I do remember right, from Bergamo to Köln. And recently, the weather in Köln has changed, and the aircraft was diverted to alternate airport, and we didn't pay attention on that. Yeah, we realized it 15 minutes before landing on the flight radar. Another thing we had with NOTAMs, when just 10 minutes before landing at the airport of Vigo, something has happened on the runway, and the aircraft was also diverted to the alternate airport. And we decided we have to automate this process. That's why we have a system which is updating with the weather each 30 minutes and NOTAMs each 5 minutes, because NOTAMs could be issued any minute. And ensuring all processes are proceeding smoothly, for that we are calling 30 minutes before landing. We are calling to ground handling just for heads up, to be sure they are waiting and expecting our flight. The cargo is ready, and to push a bit 30 minutes before. Believe me, each of these insights, each of these things will increase your chances to complete successfully your flight. Upon arrival, upon landing, we request refueling, loading, and departure clearance. As soon as we are in the air, we could relax a bit. And then upon arrival, we notify the client with movement messages, and we also notify as soon as the aircraft offloaded. And if everything is okay and we can stay at this airport, we can release the crew for crew rest. So it seems to be easy, but believe me, this is not easy. Okay, let's move on. For sure, planning is a critical part of urgent charters. Yeah, but we have a saying in our company: if the charter isn't going to plan, then everything is going to plan. It means you always should have like a plan B. And coordination, it's really important thing in our business, and coordination is needed among all parties of the processes. It's a fundamental part of our operations. But how does this begin? Well, you'll never believe. And of course, coordination begins from the informing the crew. It's obvious, and you will say, oh my God, why he's talking about this? But believe me, I will tell you the story. At the beginning of my career, I don't know, I don't remember, maybe 15 years ago, maybe 16, I don't know. I don't remember for sure. I was so excited to get the another charter confirmation, and I have started to prepare and do everything I just described. And just 1 hour before departure, I called to the crew and to be asked to be sure they're at the airport and they're ready for flight. And I was so surprised to know that they're just sitting at the hotel and having their lunch, and they have no idea about our flights. And I was realized we didn't inform the crew, and it was like almost fatigue, but finally we managed the flight. Of course, we had a slight delay, but we managed it. But from this moment, we decided, okay, it should be the first. We should have it in our algorithm to inform the crew first, because they are like a heart of the operation, and they're most important, in the charter operations. And actually, this is my beautiful wife on this photo. She was very supportive of me when we are making a film about Antonov 26. So let's move on. Of course, coordination not just with the crew, and you are only as strong as your weakest link. So if one element is lost, the whole charter can be lost. Yeah. As soon as we get the confirmation for the flight, we have to make a lot of coordination between different departments within the airline. For sure, we have to coordinate a lot of things with the client about the estimated time of arrival, the cargo, which truck will be, which plate number, when the cargo will be collected from the facility. A lot of things we should know to make the right schedule. And of course, a lot of coordination with airport services and so on. So once again, you are only as strong as your weakness link, and not to lose everything, you have to coordinate everything in smoothly and in the right way. Okay, what we have here? Oh, this is my favorite slide and my favorite topic. It's a proactivity in the charter operation. To be proactive, to think proactively is a key in our business. But how it works, how we can be proactive, in charter business. We have few main key examples here. First of all, before each flight, on the stage when we arranging everything and coordinating the schedule, we agreed with the client some alternate airport. Of course, we are always positive, never negative, but always better to be one step ahead, and that's why we are like one step ahead, and we are proactive to choose the best alternate airport for the client. And as soon as we know these alternate airports, we know how the crew will react when on some unexpected changes. Yeah, and then we are sending them as soon as it happens. We send all requests to the alternate airports, and to make it smoother. Another case, it's to understand when airports or ramp cargo handling services are hesitating. So when you send request, they may say, okay, we're working on your request, we are not sure, we have to check our manpower, about our opening hours, and then they're starting to lose your time. And in case you are feeling that they're not going to confirm you the service, you may start proactively check around the best airports as alternative option. And as soon as you received a reply, I'm sorry, we are not able to handle your flight, then you are ready to offer this option to the airport. Sorry, to the client. I'm sorry. Another very important proactive action could be when you are dealing with the crew duty, especially when it is close to the limit. But to be honest, we're always close to the limit, but sometimes we're close to the limit, but sometimes just a close. And if we are so close to the limit, we have to think how to avoid any delays, and how we can offer the client in case you're not sure the cargo will be ready on time. We can postpone the flight for 30 minutes, 1 hour, not to wait the cargo at the airport of origin. The cargo should wait the aircraft. Because if we have a room of duty times, no problem. We can wait 1 hour, 2 hours, whatever. But if you are closed, it's always better when you arrive a bit. I'm sorry. It's always better to think and to find the balance between this urgency and crew duty time, saving crew duty time. By the end, I'm sure that for the client, it's better to have to receive the cargo 30 minutes later or 1 hour later, but receive it. But in case we are facing the problems with the crew duty times, then the clients could lose the cargo, and that's it. Okay. And of course, communication. We promote a philosophy of openness, philosophy of transparency. What does it mean? It means when we are facing some difficulties, problems, we are always open with our clients. We try to find the solution together because you know, one head okay, but two heads, three is better. We have such saying in we could be under the pressure and we maybe couldn't see the best solution, but together with the client, we'll definitely find the best solution. Otherwise, as fast we can inform the crew, as fast we inform the client about some problems and issues, we have a time for find solution. But in case we are not able to offer any solution, the client will have more time, more room to find some substitute solution. And we believe this is a really right thing. And another example, we always seek confirmation from service provider. We already talk about this topic, but I will explain you more. It's as soon as you send request, you have to call them and ask if you received it. Okay, we already talked about this, but you definitely should have the charter confirmation from the service provider, and be sure they confirm you exactly what you have asked, because we had a situation when we asked the service provider in the airport who's providing cargo and ramp handling services, and we just asked, please be so kind to arrange ramp and cargo handling for the following cargo charter flight and so on. And they just reply, okay, we confirm your ramp handling service. And maybe some of you will think it's confirmation. As you ask for cargo charter service, they reply, we confirm, then it seems to be okay. But when we arrived to the airport, unfortunately, we missed this. Yeah, we all, and I'm telling you not about the greatest part of our, but also we have a problem. We have some mistakes. We are all humans, but we are learning from our mistakes. And we arrived to the airport, and then we realized that nobody from cargo department is going to handle us. Yeah, they have no idea about our flight. And then we start investigation. If we realized they just confirmed ramp handling, no cargo handling. Be sure you received ramp and you sent ramp and cargo handling service, and you have to get the same answer exactly. We can kindly confirm you ramp and cargo service, and it's also a very important thing in communication with the airport services.
Nikolay,
Okay.
May I kindly remind you that there are 5 minutes left?
Of course, it's the last one. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. In urgent charter situations, professionalism shines when dealing with force majeure events. It means that in urgent cargo transportation, it's better to rely on companies that dealing with unexpected situation regularly. Sorry, not regularly. Because we have extensive experience in handling them successfully, and we are always find ways to solve problems on the go. It means if two companies faced with the same situation, but the first one will be more focusing on the regular flights, and another one will be focusing on the charter flights. Most probably, the company who operates charter flights regularly, they will find the solution better. And at the end of this webinar, I'm going to tell you about the most exciting charter we ever operate, when really professionalism shines as a sun. So thank you very much for your attention. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to put it in a chat sector, and I will be more than happy to answer questions if I can. And here you can find my details. You can scan it or you can photo and stay in touch. Thank you very much for your attention. I really hope you enjoy this first step of our webinar.
Thank you, Nikolay. And we do have questions in the chat, some questions. And the first question to you will be from Numan. His question is about the fleet of AVEM Aero. Did the ATR 72 has joined? This is the question.
Yes, indeed. We have started operating with ATR 72 just in beginning of September. So yes, it is in our fleet, on our fleet.
Thank you. And we have one more question from Katerina. How does it happen that a personalized charter is cost effective for the client? Isn't it more expensive to transport the cargo by charter plane than by FedEx, for example?
Oh, okay, good question, but we already talk about it a bit, at least a bit. With the charter, you can bring your cargo just in a few hours. But but with a forwarding company like a DHL, FedEx, it will take at least 24 hours. It depends on your urgency. If your clinic and you're losing your patient and you need some supplies, medical or whatever, it doesn't matter. You will pay for the charter, and their lives couldn't cost a lot. I mean, we can't say like this.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any
So
questions?
I think that we are limited in time, and if you don't mind, guys, we will send answers for the question that we did answer to your emails. Thank you very much. Thank you. So we have the next speaker. The next speaker will be sales manager at AVEM Aero, Daniil Vasylkov. Daniil, welcome.
Thank you so much, Yulia. Just a second, let me please share my screen. Can you see it? Just to check. Yes, I think everything is
Yes,
okay.
we see.
Just a second, please. So let's start. So I'm so happy to be as a speaker on this event. And let's begin from my part of presentation. So let's start from selecting the optimal aircraft for cargo charters. And of course, a few words about myself. So I'm Daniil Vasylkov. I'm responsible for charter sales at AVEM Aero. And today I would like to share with you some information about our specialty about urgent cargo charters. I would like to discuss with you some aspects of urgent cargo charters, starting with planning range from 2 hours after confirmation. And also we will discuss some aspects of longer-term planning, such as charters with dangerous goods on board. So it could be up to a few days, maybe even several weeks. My main goal in this presentation is to discuss basic understanding of selecting an aircraft for urgent cargo charters and share some less obvious nuances of this process to you guys. And I hope that this information will be useful for both for newcomers to this industry and for experienced market players as well. And of course, I hope that the topics we cover today will help to improve the execution of urgent cargo charters for clients and airlines. And let's start our discussion how to properly choose an aircraft for cargo charter. On this slide, you can see some key criteria at what we are looking when we are looking for an urgent cargo charters. So when choosing an aircraft for a specific charter, you can be faced with some clear things and hidden things. And let's discuss the first group of criteria with the name of cargo dimensions and aircraft parameters. One of the first things you would need to check when you're looking for a cargo charter is if the cargo will fit through the aircraft door. At this stage, you need to look at your cargo size, cargo dimensions, parameters, and you need to look at the cargo door of the aircraft. And after that, you need to compare all these numbers. So at first look, it all seems quite simple. If cargo fits through the cargo door and you can place it in the cargo hold of the aircraft, that's great, the charter can be proceed. However, but even there can be some hidden things. And let me provide an example to you. On this slide, you can see some example with which we faced in our operation with Saab 340. We have learned that it's very, very important to double check cargo dimensions, especially when we are dealing with non-standard pellets. What I mean when we are speaking about non-standard pellets, I mean that this pellet that doesn't have dimensions of 120 by 100 by 100 or similar to them. And this example shows from our experience. One of our clients requested the transportation of pellet measuring 162 by 122 by 80 centimeters on a sub 340. This dimensions was very close to our door limits, but they were still acceptable. But however, sometimes in reality, it happened that pellets could arrive just slightly larger than it was in the initial request. And in this case, it happened. As a result, this pellet could not be loaded in the aircraft. And this issue you can see on the left side of the slide, because we wouldn't be able to close our door, and we were not able to turn around this pellet inside the cargo hold of our aircraft. So just a second. Quick remark. I'm so sorry. So these pictures are just for illustrative purpose only, and they might be inaccurate just a bit. So we find a solution. Our solution was to place some wooden pellet under the main pellet and to put the main pellet in the widest part of cargo hold, as you can see on the right side of my slide, because the closer you get to the cargo hold section, the wider it is. So, and after that, of course, we rotate the pellet, finish loading, everything was okay. So while this charter was fully successful, I just want to emphasize you how important it is to verify dimensions. And again, especially when you are dealing with non-standard pellets. And let's move on to another key factor. And another key factor is cargo weight. When we're speaking about cargo weight, we have two main parameters. The first parameter is weight of a single pellet, and another parameter is a weight of entire cargo. Both of these parameters should be suitable for loading. So from our practice in many charters we have done, unfortunately, the weight of the cargo on paperwork was a bit different from the weight given in the initial request. And sometimes this difference were in the weight of total cargo, sometimes this difference were in weight of a single pellet. So what problem can be here? If the cargo weight increase, it's not a problem as long as we still can load all cargo, single pellet, and as long as we can perform our flight without fuel stop. And if the cargo weight increase unexpectable, we might face with the next few issues. I would like to mention the first one. If the total cargo weight increases, it means that we might need to go to a fuel stop. And what is the problem here? If we go to a fuel stop, we need to reduce allowed crew duty time, and this might affect whole operation. The second issue, a pellet could become too heavy to load, and there could be two things. It become too heavy to load itself, or it could put too much pressure on aircraft's floor. And the third issue, the loading of a heavy pellets might require an additional manpower. To request additional manpower, we need to be aware in advance that you will have these big and heavy pellets, because we need to send this request to handling, to airport, and they need to have enough time to arrange the service. And let me provide you a few common cases with another issues with cargo weight. For example, one of our clients can request a transport 5 pellet of a total weight, let's say 1,500. In this case, of course, we need to double check from our side the weight of a single pellet. So logically, when I see by email this request of 5 pellet and total weight of 1,500, I, in my mind, divide 1,500 by 5. And logically, I would assume that each pellet would weigh, let's say, around 300 kilograms. But sometimes in practice, one pellet might weigh 600 kilograms and another 4 pellet might weigh only 225 kilograms. The problem is that some clients think that it doesn't matter, because the total weight is the same. But of course it does when we're speaking about loading, because in this case, we might face with some issues. Why it's so important, you might ask for me? Because as I showed you in the previous slide, when we had an issue with loading this big pallet, we don't need just simply to put the pallet inside cargo aircraft. Of course, we would need to rotate it and place in the proper weight inside cargo hold. And so, if we have a big difference between expected weight of a pallet and its actual weight, we would definitely need to request additional manpower, because as far as you know, our crew isn't power lifters and they wouldn't be able to move these heavy pallets inside the aircraft. And another key point, we shouldn't be focused only on loading when we are speaking about heavy pallets. Of course, unloading can be tricky too. And you may ask me, what can be wrong with unloading if we already load these pallets? Let's imagine a case if we arrive to airport like Ingolstadt in Germany. As far as I think you know, in Ingolstadt, often it's only one person with a forklift to assist. And of course, he wouldn't be able to unload these heavy pallets. Or let's consider another example. A client may request a transportation of 3 pallets with total weight, let's say 900. So we expect 3 pallets with each weight of them of 300 and total weight of 900. But sometimes it happens upon arrival that there could be only 2 pallets. One weight 600 kilograms and another will weigh 300 kilograms. And again, you may ask me, what is the problem? The total weight is the same. But in this case, with this one heavy pallet of 600 kilograms, we may face this floor pressure limitation. It's a very important parameter while we are speaking about cargo charter. And let's discuss it a bit clearly. Okay, on this slide, you can see many numbers, but please don't be afraid. My suggestion is to give you maybe from 10 to 20 seconds just to read the first part of the slide. It's an algorithm how we can find this floor pressure. Of course, it's not obvious thing maybe for our clients, but I think it definitely will help you to understand this loading process and how important it is. And just a few words to beginners. When we are speaking about floor pressure limitation, in simple words, floor pressure, it's a weight or a force that acting on a specific area of aircraft floor. And as I told you before, on slide, you can see this algorithm, how we can find. Firstly, let's imagine that you can see on slide, we have a pallet with dimensions 40 centimeters by 60 centimeters and imagine weight of 240 kilograms. And firstly, we need to find an area of this pallet. For this, we need to multiply 40 centimeters by 60 centimeters, and then we will receive this area. This area equals to 0.24 square meters, especially in this case, as you can see on the next part of my slide. Then to find our pressure on floor, we need to divide our weight of this pallet. It's 240 kilograms. We need to divide to this pallet's area. It's 0.24, and we will receive, as you can see, 1,000 kilograms. It will be our pressure on floor. And after that, we need to compare these numbers that we received with specific aircraft floor pressure limitation. So please keep in mind when we are speaking about floor pressure limitation, each aircraft has its own limit. Most aircraft with the same type have similar limitation. But even the same model, for example, if you have 2 ATR-72s, it could be slightly different in floor pressure limitation. It's due to how they were converted from passenger aircraft to cargo aircraft. And maybe let's consider a few popular aircrafts and their floor pressure limitation. For example, especially I have experience with Antonov 26, with ATR 42, 72, and of course Saab 340. When we are speaking about Antonov 26, you practically will never face with this limitation. On the other hand, ATR 72 and 42 have a maximum permitted floor limits around 400 kilograms. And to be honest, it's quite low for charters with heavy pellets. With Saab 340, we have just a little bit better situation. Floor pressure limitation at Saab 340 is 485 kilograms. And just one important thing to note from this topic. We have two main parameters. First parameter, when we are speaking about floor pressure limitation, when we are using spreads, and another parameter when we can load the pellets directly to the aircraft. And quick note for our beginners. When I'm speaking about spreads, so I mean that spreads, it's typically wooden boards that we can put under the main pellet to spread out the pressure on aircraft floor. And you might ask me why I'm paying so much attention to this topic. Because if we will exceed these limits, we can damage the aircraft structure. And of course, it would make our flight unsafe. Unfortunately, this topic is quite wide, and I don't want to spend too much time to explain all these details in this presentation. So please let me know in chat if this topic is interesting for you, and if it is, we can create an additional video. We can upload this video on our LinkedIn profile with all formulas, with all detailed explanation, and even we can provide some Excel file to make your calculations easier. And let's move to the next topic. Sometimes you may face with such situation when you could receive a request with, at first look, simple cargo, normal weight, but even in this case, there can be some surprises. Like you can see on this slide, the issue of this cargo, I will show you again. The issue of this cargo is their small and shaped legs. And these small sharp legs could make moving it hard inside cargo hold of the aircraft. And you may ask me why it's difficult, what is the problem here? Let's imagine these small legs could be like knives when they are pressing on some surface. And of course, when we are moving these pellets inside the cargo hold of our aircraft, where the floor isn't smooth, we might damage the flooring, the aircraft flooring. So also please pay attention to these small legs of your cargo. And let's maybe a bit summarize the first part of my presentation. And I have a question to you. What do you think? What is the common thing between all these issues that I mentioned previously? Just to remind you, we spoke already about issues connected with floor pressure. We spoke already regarding issues with weight. We discussed some aspects of loading standard and non-standard pellets. My answer is all these issues could be simply solved by prompt and direct communication between a client and airline. If you will tell us that you will have a heavy pellets and we have enough time, we can request spreads. We can request additional manpower. Or just in case, we can try to find another solution how we can load these pellets. So our recommendation, what we want to see from our clients, please clarify cargo dimensions and how it could be loaded. Can we stack this cargo or not? Can we turn around this cargo or not? Please clarify cargo weight. Please clarify the weight of total cargo and the weight of a single pellet. And please double check with the final client in advance if there are any plans to change number of pallets or their weight. And the most important thing what would help us, I think, if you will be able to provide us with photo of a cargo. If you have a photo of a cargo, you can provide us. You can provide it to us. I think it would help us to avoid many issues. The main idea, the key to smooth operation, is to be aware of the problems of advance. And now maybe let's move to discuss a favorite topic. It's a favorite topic of our clients, of the airlines. It's price policy. Guys, in this topic, there could be clear things and hidden things. Of course, the clear things, we know if the several airlines could offer with the same time cargo delivery is the lowest price, of course, our client will choose the lowest price. It's logically. It happened because we have such events like pandemic, Russian-Ukrainian war, rising energy cost, and of course, all these things already change our economic landscape, and charter price is a key factor when we are speaking about charter operation. But today I would like to draw your attention on less obvious aspects of this process. In my opinion, if you have a simple cargo operating from standard airport without minimal risk of changes, I think if you will decide to go for the lowest price, it could be a good idea. But if you have a complex cargo, special client, if you have a big risk that you will have additional cost, I think you should give priority to qualities of airline. And what I mean when I'm talking about qualities of airline, in my opinion, it's ability of a company to react quickly on unexpected situation. Because to be honest, every company can make a failure. And what is the most important thing, how company will respond when something goes wrong. And let me provide an example with another main issue that we can see from our experience on charter market. And especially this happens when it's a high demand period of charters. Clients often choose the cheapest offer available on the market. And our clients, unfortunately, don't consider that the aircraft availability can quickly disappear. And there could be a very big difference between the lowest price and next possible option on the market. And unfortunately, they don't pay attention on this big gap in prices. And what will happen if final client confirm to our client the charter? But in this option, you could face with situation when this option is no longer available on the market. In this case, of course, the client wants to keep the booking because he don't want to cancel it. And of course, he wants to save his money. It's logically. And what he will do in this situation? Often our clients come to us and ask, so please, could you reduce the price according to the cheapest option that we have, because previous option already disappeared, availability has gone, and so on. Sometimes, of course, we will be able to help our client in this case. But I would like to share with you our experience when we had the situation. We agreed with the client to help him by lowering our price. But later on this charter, we faced this situation when we had to pay for additional extra charges for de-icing, for airport extension, and we asked our client to cover it. And unfortunately, our client told us that, you see that unfortunately freight forward can't cover it because it was unexpected to him and all these things. So everyone was in stress around 1 or 2 days because we spent too much time in discussion who will cover. Our client asked us to share this cost and so on and so forth. So after this case, we decided at AVEM that we will offer always all-inclusive prices. So right now, when we are offering some price to you, this price include everything. It includes diversion to alternative airport. It includes covering the icing, airport extension, and many other things. Because our main goal on this stage is to avoid surprising our clients with unexpected expenses. And of course, to be honest, we don't want to bring additional headache to ourselves. And to summarize all this information, it's impossible to provide you guys with some specific price policy or price strategy. But I hope that this information that I mentioned previously will help you to act on the charter market and find a better solution for your client. So let's move on and discuss very, very important things, but sometimes it could be very hidden things. And the first thing that I want to pay your attention is position in airport. What does it mean, position in airport? It's information just for newcomers. Position airport is the airport from where the aircraft will start positioning a flight for a charter flight. What you need to check at this airport? You need to check, firstly, his airport working hours. You need to compare the schedule that you have with this airport hours. Also, it's critical to check if this airport can provide handling, slot, and all other services that you need for departure. Because the common mistake is to be focused only on two airports, on airport of cargo origin and airport of destination. And many clients, many airlines forgot that they need to pay attention also on airport of departure, because there can be issues as well. Second important things, please guys, pay attention on the distance between airports, especially when we make a position flight. Let's imagine a situation that aircraft is available in Lisbon and the cargo is available in Bratislava. I think even if somehow any airline can offer a very good price for this route, a 6-hour positioning flight, I don't think that it would be a good idea for you, because you always have to keep in mind that you always need to keep in mind the crew duty time, because if you will have cargo delay, you may fail all operation. Another very important thing, flights without stops should be our priority. And of course, guys, your priority. Because if you plan a flight without fuel stop, you minimize risk. Because we have two stages that are most risky in aviation. It's landing and departure. Because statistics shows us that these stages are most critical in aviation. And also, if you will plan an additional fuel stop, you will face with human risk factors, because all slots, all handlings, fuel, all airport services are coordinated by human. And as a human, we can make a mistake. And a few words about aircraft choosing. Sometimes it will be beneficial for client to take a larger aircraft and to perform a charter without fuel stop, because if you will make less fuel stop, we will make more reliable flight. And of course, guys, let's pay attention on ecological responsibility. Less miles in the air means less producing CO2 emissions. Let's always remember our responsibility to our clients and to our planet. And now, let's discuss, in my opinion, in every charter, there be things that is under our control and out of our control. And let's discuss, in my opinion, the most important thing that is definitely under our control. And this thing is communication. Because we can improve the quality of a charter by communication. And the main idea of my slide, based on a statement by René Descartes, if people will agree on the meaning of words, they would avoid many troubles. Let's consider an example. When a client writes to us this message, let's say the cargo will be ready at 5 p.m. at airport. After we receive this message, we have in our mind several questions. Ready for what? Ready for unloading from a truck, ready for loading to aircraft. But unfortunately, in reality, when a client told us that cargo will be ready at airport at 5 p.m., he means that only cargo will arrive at this time to the airport. So clients made a mistake by mixing up cargo arrival time at the airport with time when cargo will be physically ready for loading to the aircraft. That's why many of our clients insist on arrival at the same time to the airport when the cargo will arrive at the airport. But in our practice for airport service, to prepare cargo for loading to the aircraft, they will need not less than 1 hour. And it works only if X-ray machine will have no problem, because sometimes cargo is too heavy for loading machine, and you will need even more time than 1 hour. You may ask me why this timing is so important. And we will again back on this stage to crew duty time limitation, because in 30% and more of our flights, unfortunately, we faced with crew duty time limitation when cargo delays. When cargo is late, we have a choice. We can extend crew duty time, but unfortunately, sometimes it's not possible due to aviation regulation. Or we can improve cargo delivery by calling, let's say, 100 times to our client, where is the cargo, and texting him. So we have a choice to make a stress for our crew or to make a stress for our client, because no one from our clients want to be in situation when they will be not able to perform the flight after loading because of a lack of crew duty time. And let's consider another example just to emphasize why it's even 20-30 minutes is very important in charter and can play a huge role. And let's discuss why rush in charters often leads to bad results. As I mentioned before, often our clients mixing up cargo arrival to the airport and when cargo will be ready, and they insisting to arrive at the same time when cargo will be ready in airport. For example, this may be logical for client because our clients want to speed up a process of cargo delivery for their clients, but a result could be a delay. Why it could be? Because handling companies based their work on a receiving schedule. So if you tell us that aircraft will be ready at airport at 5 p.m., we will request handling from the airport that we will arrive at 5 p.m. and we will depart at 6 p.m. And what will happen if cargo delay, let's say, by 40 minutes? It means that at the same time, staff of this handling, they might be busy with loading or unloading another aircraft. So my main idea, guys, let's communicate clearly. Let's provide with clear information. I think it will help both sides. And let's discuss another main thing in charters. It's algorithm. And just for newcomers, when we had a flight booking, we need to follow some algorithm. We need to request from airport service like handling, like slots, like fuel. Sometimes it's airport extension. So when we had a booking, we start our algorithm. And let's imagine that this algorithm has a small percent of failure. Let's say it's 4%. 4% of failure, I think it's very, very low number and it could be acceptable. But guys, when you are making 3 changes, we will multiply this risk, because after every change, we need to apply this algorithm again. We will again request airport. We will again request fuel. We will again request another airport extension. And sometimes this risk could be very high. And now I want to provide you practical example regarding this information. Last year, we had a flight from Baden-Baden airport to Lisbon airport. And on this flight, we have a very big number of change. And the result of this change, it was that Lisbon didn't confirm our final slot, because we sent too many requests to Lisbon, and unfortunately for us, it was not clear that after some another changes, the Lisbon didn't confirm our final schedule. So finally, we complete this charter. Client was very happy. We delivered the cargo. But in 1 year after it, we received a fine from the airport. The fine was around 40,000 euros. That is a very big amount. Thanks to God, we will be able to negotiate it more than half. But we understand that the root of this problem was that we didn't get enough clearly information about cargo delivery. What happened? Because client thought that it would be better if we inform us many times about small cargo delays. But I think the most important thing to inform us once with a real time when cargo will arrive. So just to emphasize, if we would have all this information at the first stage of our flight, we would avoid many problems. And guys, I think we have both the same task. It's a successful performance of our charter flight, and I hope together we can achieve it. So to consider to keep our topic about communication, let's say that communication and prompt notification can minimize risk during charters. And when we reduce these issues, we make our clients happy. Based on our experience that I mentioned you about issues with crew duty time and cargo delays, if you will inform us in advance, even if cargo delays by 5 hours, we still can solve this issue. How we can solve it? We can keep our crew in a hotel. We can postpone our flight. So main idea, speaking about communication, let's communicate clearly. For your help, we have 24/7 available ops manager on duty, and he will be happy to handle all your requests. He will be happy to inform you. So if you have any issues, please text to him. Of course, if you have some emergency situation, please call to him, and of course he will do the same. And so my main idea, guys, of my presentation, avoiding the problem is challenging, but we are here to face this challenge and to solve these problems. So thank you guys for your attention. If you have any question, please ask me. I will be happy to answer. And here is my contacts. You can scan it, and you can join to me by LinkedIn. And that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Daniil. So actually, we have one question in the chat. So the question goes from Katerina, and it sounds as, does a sales manager need to have a weight and balance training or any specific aviation education to work in your business? This is the question.
Not at all. Not at all. I share all this information just to more deeply understanding of process of performing cargo charter. Because sometimes I think it will be useful for you. Not at all. Not. You just need to understand some basic things on it. And as I mentioned previously, if this topic is interesting for you, you can let me know in chat, and you can create an additional video with explanation, with all formulas, and we can provide Excel file and so on. That's it.
Okay, thank you. And we got one more question from Team, but Team, could you please clarify your question, because the question sounds as CC can fit to
can
one
fit
flight?
to one cargo flight.
Yeah, like this.
Just a
Could you
second.
just to clarify a little bit?
Yes,
What do
I
you
think
mean
it will
by
be
this?
better because
Mhm.
your
Okay, team, are you there? Could you please clarify in the chat?
So I think we can leave this question, and when Tim can clarify this question, I can answer it directly to him by chat or something like that.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
another question from Ahmed: do you hire fresh current graduate pilots? Ahmed, you can text me by LinkedIn, and you can send your CV to me, and we can take a look on it. Yes, we are hiring pilots for ATR-72. So guys, thank you so much for
thank
your
you.
attention.
Yeah, thank you, Daniil. And actually, we have break time now. But before we go in break, we'd like to ask to read one more question from the chat. Nikolay, could you please answer the question?
Sure,
One
which
more.
one? I'm
Yep.
happy to answer any
Okay,
questions.
I will read this question one more. Give me a second, I will find it. Give me a sec. The question is, please detail what type of software would be suitable to eradicate some of the manual processes involved in organization and urgent charters, such as the multiply calls and emails. Thank you.
It's very nice questions. Thank you very much. I think it's better to direct this question to another speaker, to Simon, but I will answer from my side. Many years ago, at the beginning, we decided that we have to have our own software, which will be perfectly for our needs. And I'm not sure if there is a great solution for combining automation of all workflow, including the CRM, like for phone calls and emails. It's a quite complicated thing to combine everything on one place. I think the best solution would be to combine several IT decisions, IT options. But for now, we decided that we have to continue developing our internal software to make the workflow smoothly and to avoid any human mistakes. I'm sure someone is working on such thing that could be connecting all things together, but I think we will know it in the future.
Okay, thank you, Nikolay. So
thank you very much.
Thank you. So guys, we have break time, about 10-15 minutes. After the break, you will have an opportunity to hear Simon Watson and Caroline Werf, so don't switch off, and use this opportunity to get insights from professionals in the urgent air charter market. See you in 10 maybe minutes. It will be 10:35. Okay, take your time, use it for tea exercises. Yep, and see you in 10 minutes, 10:35.
Kamaráde, opět hledáš iPhone na bazoši? Kašli na to. Zaplatíš tisíce a
Guys who are staying with us, 5 minutes left and we will come back.
Chcete dnes vydělat 1000.
Welcome back, guys. So we're here again and we continue our online event, and our next speaker is director and co-founder of CharterSync, Simon Watson. Simon, you're welcome.
Thanks, Julia. Thank you very much for the introduction. I'll just go ahead and share my screen and be ready to go. 1 second. Sorry, 1 second.
That's okay. Can we help? Oh, okay. Yeah, we see it. We see. Thank you.
Great. So hopefully everyone can see my screen all okay. Julia, if that's coming through okay.
Yep, it is.
Great stuff. Cool. Well, thank you very much, firstly, for inviting me to do a talk today. I think the concept of today's presentations is a great idea by AVEM. Cargo charter is quite a niche area of the airfreight market. And I think something like this gives a really good insight into quite a niche, but really specialist and interesting area of the cargo of the charter market. So I've titled the presentation today, A Digital Evolution, Not Revolution, which is just taking into account all of the last 5 or 6 years of experience myself and Ed have had with the market, and hopefully gives a really good insight into sort of both our learnings and also a unique insight to maybe where the future may be going and its impact or implications or any misconceptions that the market may have. So starting off with digitization and market misconceptions. So taking a step back, looking at the wider logistics tech market, there's been a huge amount of change in the last 5 or 6 years. Digitization, technology, AI, machine learning have become real big buzzwords. But in reality, what does that mean? So if I take air as one of the key modes of transport, that then broken down into obviously scheduled air freights, next flight out and charter. Now, what we've seen in the market over the last maybe 6 or 7 years is the advent of a lot of cargo booking platforms for air freight. The likes of obviously Cargo One and Web Cargo by Freightos and Cargo AI have made huge changes in the way in which freight forwarders book their small shipments via air freight, with huge benefits of efficiency and better booking process, much more faster to book your air freight. And what we've seen actually is we're looking at something like 30 to 40% of the market capacity is now digitized through air cargo booking platforms. When we look at Charter hasn't, we've been around for about 5 or 6 years. The cargo charter market hasn't moved at the same pace at all. And like I said, sort of why is the cargo charter so unique? Well, the way we see it is that it's hugely driven by relationships. It's a high value, low volume transaction, unlike air cargo. This relies keenly on communication with a high number of variables to each charter, both the cargo dimensions, the departure and arrival points, and the types of cargo, obviously being more into dangerous goods and specialized loads. However, the ways in which everyone works within the market really hasn't changed much since the advent of email. Now, one of some of our key learnings in the market has been that, like the title alludes, is that we launched with the idea of, we were going to revolutionize and change the cargo charter market. But what we've really seen is that it's this slow, progressive, evolutionary approach, which is more aligned to all the participants within the market. It requires a big behavioral shift for all the participants to understand and see the key value drivers and what they can get out of using technology, instead of it being a barrier or a hurdle to jump over, how it can really benefit them. And the misconceptions that we see in the market. So over the last 5 or 6 years, when we very first launched, there was this general feeling or hesitancy to understand what we were trying to aim to do and what our plans were for the future and what that could mean for all the participants within the market. One of the general misconceptions that we have seen and do continue to see is that technology is going to ruin the market or it's going to replace participants within the charter market. However, we've always approached using technology within the cargo charter market, much like you fly an aircraft. So I've used that picture on the right-hand side there, which is the throttle quadrant from an Airbus 320 series. Myself and Ed obviously have experience of flying, and one of the key principles there is that you use the correct level of automation. And we've always tried to do that at CharterSync. We're applying the correct level of automation to give a benefit to the users. Correct application of technology within the market should always aim to remove the key problems and pain points and issues that our market faces and add value to all the participants within the market. Giving the user technology really should give them an advantage, whether that be with time and efficiency, which can lead to obviously increased capital efficiency and productivity as a business, which then ultimately can help the bottom line of product profitability. And it also helps surface actionable business insights and business data to then allow them to optimize revenue or change their business strategy. So I guess one of the answers to the big misconception is that we don't see that technology will replace or remove people within the market. The charter market is so reliant on people. there's such a high number of key variables that it will always require brokers, airlines, freight forwarders within the market. But what we do see is that the participants within the market that don't embrace the technology and adapt to new technology that could give them value, those members or participants within the market could see themselves being replaced or outcompeted by their competitors that have taken on and embraced that technology. So I think that's one of the big misconceptions that we've seen. So in essence, technology, we don't see it replacing people or participants within the market or stakeholders, but we see those that don't embrace the new technology could end up finding themselves at a disadvantage to their competitors. So technology within the cargo charter market and its benefits. So looking at some of the key issues that we have to consider when we're looking at technology in the cargo charter market. So each business has their own processes and ways of working. So what I mean by that is that certain businesses, whether that may be brokers or freight forwarders or airlines, they may have their own ways of communication. So they may use or be reliant on emails quite heavily, or they may be reliant on using WhatsApp for sending RFQs or receiving quotes. Where now what we see is that because each of these businesses within the market work in their own silo processes and ways of working, when these participants start to talk to each other, or for example, basic example could be a broker and an airline. When a broker and airline start to interact, the disconnect in these processes and communication channels leads to increased inefficiencies, and it can ultimately lead to missed opportunities for both the carriers and their customers and the brokers and their customers. And I think that's one of the big issues that we see in the market, because there is no default, there is no standard way of working. When any time that these businesses interact, it creates a lot of inefficiency and wasted time. Whether that could be, real great example could be sending a request out to 10, 20 different airlines, and each of those airlines receiving that on email. And then within that airline, there may be 4 or 5 people within that airline who are then trying to quote. And sometimes I know people in the market will see, sometimes you get a quote back, or you may have 2 quotes from the same airline with different pricing, and you get lots of issues that occur like that. And I think what we really try to focus on is delivering value to users. So what really, instead of just developing technology that is developing it for the sake of it and using it as a marketing spin, but actually looking at what really adds value to the participants. So looking at some of the key benefits in the cargo charter market, technology can help obviously bring increased operational efficiency. So as an airline, that may mean that you can process more requests and offer more quotes to the market per head or per salesperson. It may mean as a broker or a charter professional, we may be able to send out more requests per person within the team. From a security aspect, the pandemic was a really great insight to show how easily email could be intercepted. Email is not a secure or as secure form of communication, especially when we're talking about such high value, low volume type transactions like charter. Technology through 2FA, through multi-factor authentication, increased security, really, that's a real strong benefit. And I think we saw it times and again when airlines within the pandemic, hackers were mirroring their email systems, so sending out quotes on behalf of airlines and intercepting emails. So it's a real strong benefit. And I think my later slides on AI and ML talk about security and how that can really benefit participants within the charter market. It also results in reducing of missed opportunities. And what I mean by that is on the demand side of the market, knowing who to contact. Often it's a smaller market, so generally participants know who could be the right airline for the request. But generally, when a broker has a request or a charter professional has a request, trying to work out who to send that request to without having clear visibility across the market is very difficult, which means that the one key airline that you thought you would send that request to, you forget to send to, or maybe you send it to the wrong email address, or you send it on WhatsApp and they're not available on WhatsApp to be contacted. It also allows surfacing actionable business data. So what I mean by that is on a request and quote level, day-to-day operational data, but then also long-term business data. So as an airline, looking at trends within the market, within the charter market, to then be able to tailor your growth strategy appropriately, and then optimize revenue. So the way in which technology can really help with that is on a request and quote basis in a charter field. Brokering is a huge combination of the relationship, the value you bring to your clients, the relationship you have with your airlines, but then it also comes down to the margin that you make is also a product of that level of experience and tacit knowledge with the case-by-case quote. So technology is really great at looking at historical data to maybe give you some prompts or hints as to how you could tailor the pricing. What I wanted to then focus on is a look to the future. Artificial intelligence and machine learning are really hype words, really buzzwords at the moment. This time last year, probably not many people had heard of AI or knew what it was, or had heard of ChatGPT or GPT-4 and machine learning. And there's been a huge boom in that over the last 12 months. So I just wanted to cover through sort of what AI is, sort of taking the smoke and mirror effect, taking the cloak away and actually showing what it is, and actually looking at the hype versus the reality and where we actually are in terms of that growth curve. So, and then also finishing off by looking at what the impact of AI and machine learning might be on the charter market more widely. So what is artificial intelligence and machine learning? So Ghana, which is a leading IT consultancy firm, defines artificial intelligence as applying advanced analysis on logic-based techniques, including machine learning, to interpret events, support and automate decisions and take actions. And machine learning really sits at the intersection of artificial intelligence and data science. So AI models can be used for many different purposes, but it's really important to note that there's no cognition, intuition or thinking. These systems really are purely probabilistic, deterministic, and the result of huge investments in generating data sets, training models, and the hard cost of computation. So what I mean by that is people may think that AI, literally, you go onto GPT, you type in a request or a prompt, and it gives you back plain text as an answer. That gives perceived cognition, or the thought that actually this computer is really thinking, but actually it's the result of a huge data set, computational model. And really, as I said, the last bullet point here, the output is really only as good as the data set it has access to. And it's full of biases, and it's prone to presenting non-factual information as fact. You read the news, it may have you thinking something else, but the reality really is that we're really early on into understanding the impacts on what AI could do and what it could be, but it certainly isn't typing in a prompt into ChatGPT right now. You're certainly not talking to a computer that completely can think on its own 2 feet. This chart here, hopefully just giving you an insight to the hype cycle of the artificial intelligence in 2023. So there's a lot of information on this chart, but effectively what it's showing is on the vertical axis, the level of expectation, on the x-axis, as time progresses. So each new advent of AI and machine learning tool follows this path, this heuristic path. So it shows the starting point being the innovation trigger. So like you can see, a lot of all of the big things that are hitting the news and the press are sitting at the start of this curve. So this huge boom in this, a lot of innovation, a lot of investment, Microsoft, Google, etc., that then reach this peak of inflated expectations. So at the top of this peak, you'll see generative AI. So what that is, that's the likes of ChatGPT, large language learning models that you can put in requests or text and get prompts and answers back. And that's really at the peak of inflated expectations. So that's nowhere near anything that's of use or productivity use, both in enterprise level or consumer level devices. It's take it as a slight gimmick, but a bit of an advanced, enhanced gimmick. Then tends to what happen, you then go through this trough of disillusionment. So these are obviously having this big peak, this big, huge amount of investment. You then fall into this sort of trough of actually what practically is this? How can this actually impact our business? How can this actually benefit us? As time progresses, this then goes through the slope of enlightenment. And one of the items there would be cloud AI services. Now, cloud AI services may be able to help with the likes of route optimization, but we're still very early on to that being fully predictive. So the passive productivity here, you've got computer vision, which is at sort of the top. Actually, this is sort of within less than the next 2 years. We're going to actually be able to use that within machines and devices. So computer vision, an example of that would be using 3D mapping and cameras on cars. So the likes of the Tesla vehicles, using them in Ubers to navigate and drive those vehicles around in 3D. So that's one of the most complex examples that's actually coming to a point of commercialization and using it productively. But what this hopefully displays is actually really early on in the advent of AI, and actually a lot of these tools and new things that are hitting the news are very much, as you can see, up to nearly 10 years away from being commercially used within the market. And as it says there, a lot of the economic benefits of a lot of these tools and devices are very much still unproven. What is the impact of AI? What could the impact of AI and ML be on the charter market or the cargo charter market? So to start off with, from a security and risk perspective, anything that can be used for good normally tends to also be able to be used for bad. So the large language models and generative AI can enable bad actors and equip them with more sophisticated tools to be able to attack organizations, as well as help assist with pulling data out. So data leaks and using Google, using cloud services, or the business impact from staff using AI to generate copyrighted or inaccurate information. I touched on it just before, but cloud AI services, this will allow for very complex, very quick route optimizations. So this could be talking more like the route network for scheduled airlines, and cargo management, so how best to load or how best to use cargo, the likes of loadability software and tools. Data-centric AI, so the large data sets from business activity could be used for better quotes. It could be used for increased win rates and improved margins. They could be used for predictive analytics, so better forecasting of routes, cargo, and the impact of market forces on near and short-term planning. Now, to counter security and risk, AI trust, risk, and security management, which is starting to become its entirely own field, could use AI models that are used to counter the issues introduced by AI. Now, all of these require heavy investment in people, processes, and tools, and mitigating of serious risks. I hope that gives an insight into the future of artificial intelligence and machine learning and its impact on the charter market. I'm trying to keep the presentation as short and to the point as possible, but I welcome any questions, Liliia, that anyone has.
Yep. Thank you very much, Simon. And yeah, we have some questions. And the first question is, give me a second. So the first question from Telma Atin, it's editor of Air Cargo Eye. Her question is, please detail what type of software would be suitable to eradicate some of the manual processes involved in organizing an urgent charters, such as the multiply calls and emails. This is the question.
It's a very good question. So in the urgent charter market, and I'm sure the topic of conversation will come up across the speakers, is around communication and manual forms of communication. Now, what we don't see is, again, as highlighted in the presentation, we don't see that those conversations being removed or eradicated, but what we do see is those repetitive tasks being able to be potentially optimized. So at the moment, within the cargo charter, the urgent cargo charter market, there is no tool that we see that solves that issue. So there is no software currently available at the moment that solves those problems. But obviously, as my presentation alludes to, working on a number of things in the background that hopefully we can bring to market and have an answer to. Hopefully it says there's not necessarily an answer, but maybe a watch this space type of response.
So thank you. We have more questions. So the question from Nikolay, how can we utilize ChatGPT today to assist us in managing urgent cargo charters efficiently?
Very good question, Nikolay. So ChatGPT obviously is powered by huge levels of data set. Now, your output is only as good as the input and the data that it gathers. So I've used it as well for doing some research and R&D. But what I would say right now is apart from some very specific niche use cases, I would say that GPT is not at the level yet that could be used effectively within an operation using prompts. It needs to gather a huge amount of data. And as we know, the charter market, and as I said, is hugely reliant on a high set of variables. It's a very niche specific subsector of the market. GPT is really good at things like like sort of passenger movement or passenger travel, asking it, what's the best route to take if I want to go on holiday to Hawaii from the UK, things like this. But actually its data set that it has for cargo charter is really small. So right now, apart from the likes of gathering weather or TAFs or METARs or potentially pulling NOTAMs, there's no standardized data out there at the moment for cargo charter that I'm aware of that could be used effectively. So I think that's something that maybe in 6-9 months time may change, but it's down to the amount of data that's being fed into the data set.
Okay, thank you. So we have next question from Ihar. How do you use AI in your company already?
Good question. So at the moment, we don't, is the simple answer. There's a huge amount of R&D research going on in the background. A lot of businesses you'll have seen are now talking about 2024 implementing AI and language models into their tools. I think one of the things that we're really keen not to do is just implement AI for the sake of implementing AI and using it as marketing. Artificial intelligence within software and tools, it can be super useful, super predictive. However, I'm finding that a lot of businesses are implementing it for the sake of having it as a marketing feature. We see 2020, the second half of 2024 being sort of the time that we'll be focusing our investment into AI and machine learning.
Okay, thank you. So the next question we have from Olga. So please share CharterSync experience to enter the conservative market with innovative platform. How did it go?
A good question, Olga. So we launched in 2019. And there was about 2 or 3 years worth of prior experience to that. So this is something that's about 8 years in the making. Now, when we launched, we sort of following this sort of get the chart back up, but we're in that sort of peak of expectation. And you always follow this peak of expectation by the actual reality of actually what you're doing. So I think for us, it's a huge learning experience. We have learned a lot over the last 7 or 8 years. We very much so would consider ourselves at the front runner of innovating or bringing technology into the cargo charter market and the charter market widely. It was harder than we expected. There's a lot of learnings. We had to, one of the sayings is learn fast, fall fast, fall forward, and pick yourself back up and keep going and keep running. But yeah, it wasn't easy, but it's been a really exciting and enjoyable experience so far. Nothing good is ever easy though.
Thank you. And we have next question from Nikolay. Simon, what are your thoughts on how technology and digitalization will impact the aviation or charter business in the next 5-10 years? Thank you.
So, I mean, what I see is in the next 5 to 10 years, was that in the aviation market more widely or within charter or cargo charter?
Sorry, I will.
Cargo charter.
Within cargo charter. So I see that technology, so from an airline perspective, I see that technology could bring enhanced data. So one of the issues is that cargo charter it's very, very communicative. It's very relationship driven. It's not transactional. It's not a commoditized exercise like you buy a cargo charter and that's it. And that's sort of not how the business works. It's completely different to air freight. But because of that, all of the communication is in free text or text and conversation, WhatsApp and emails, exchanges. But because of that, and I'm sure as the airlines know, that data is not digitized or not captured. I know obviously even you've taken a number of steps forward and much more further on down that learning process with that. So you're able to capture that data. So what I see really holistically is that by being able to capture data and bring in some standardized data formats, airlines are going to have a lot more data to their fingertips. So internally, that could be historical data. So airlines right now can look at them, if they digitize their data that they have, they could look at the historical trends for themselves as an airline. But really, you start to get movements forward when you can start to collate the whole market and actually give insights into how the market's trending for everyone, for the better for everyone, actually. Because, and I'm not talking about sharing prices or anything like that, or anything that is that could sway the market, but I'm talking about more giving insights to trends so that airlines can better plan what fleet they have, what aircraft variants they have, what potential positioning they have for a peak or a low period. So I see data being like one of the biggest drivers, because without data, you can't plan for the future. So yeah, I see data being one of the most, I think one of the sayings is that oil obviously used to be one of the most valuable commodities, but I would say now data is one of the most valuable commodities in the world. But then again, data can be used for good and it can be used for bad. One of the sayings is that if you're using an application or a device that you're not paying for, it means that you are the commodity that's being traded. And I think you have to always be wary with that with technology. And hopefully one of my takeaways from my presentation is that you shouldn't be scared of technology, but you should also understand that if you were not to take on or embrace that technology, then you may be at a disadvantage. But it's not a scary exercise. Again, it's an evolution. It doesn't happen overnight.
Thank you very much, Simon. Thank you.
Thank you. And Simon, and we have one more question, please. So,
Sure,
dear Simon, you think AI will change radically the way quotationing and requests are managed? Thank you.
I think that, yeah, I think so. From a request process, so as a broker, as a logistics professional, the process of sending out a request, I think AI could help with that. So I think it could give better prompts on who to send that request to, and the routings you may choose. And it may also be able to pre-create your quote in text or a standardized format. And then from an airline perspective, on a quoting level, the request that you get in plain text format, AI and ML can really help there in terms of pulling and lifting the key request data and putting it into your own system, and then giving you again prompts on what potentially might be the best route option or the best quote to give. So I think AI will really help and assist from that side. And then you have a whole, obviously from a machine learning perspective, using historical data as time goes on and the data gets more rich and more granular. There's a lot of machine learning that can then help improve the quality of the quotes that airlines are potentially sending back.
Okay, thank you very much. So we have no question for now. Thank you very much for great
thank you very
presentation.
much for inviting me, and thank you very much for everyone taking the time to have a listen. Hopefully it was insightful and helpful.
Thank you very much, Simon, for being with us. It was very interesting, and thank you very much.
Thanks very much, guys. Have a lovely afternoon.
Yeah.
Thank you. So,
Bye-bye.
Goodbye. So guys, so we have some technical issues with the connection actually. That's why we will have substitution of the speaker. And now you will hear sales manager, former head of OCC at AVEM Aero, Liliia Skidanova. Liliia?
Yes, hi to everyone. It is so nice to see so much of you. Now I will start my presentation. Can you see it?
Yes, yep. It is
Not,
okay.
not this one second, sorry. Not as good as I dreamed, sorry. One second.
It is okay, yes.
Yes, it is okay now. Let me introduce myself. My name is Liliia. Liliia Skidanova. I work as a sales manager in AVEM Aero, but also I have 10-year experience as an operation manager. So I have a lot to share with you today. As you see on the screen, I will tell you how to make a better collaboration between airline OCC and clients. This presentation will explore their partnership in details, given a clear plan for effective cooperation. We'll talk about the challenges and problems we can face, and we'll suggest practical solutions and give some examples. So let's start. As Nikolay already told, there are 6 main phases of an urgent charter flights. I just want to remind them you, and we will go on after that. So the first pre-flight phase is where it all begins. This is phase where the client sends their request to sales manager, and sales manager prepares the offer for the client. So sales manager is checking what he can offer, checking with OCC if there are any issues with airports and permits if required. After that, the client receives the best option we can offer. The next one is negotiation of agreement. During this phase, contract is signed. Client and sales manager discuss everything, and the result of their discussion, contract signed. Now, once contract is signed, the next phase comes into the play. As it was already told by the Nikolay, I want to ask you, which phase is it? How do you think? What is the next phase? Is it communicational phase or the operational phase? If you think that it is communicational phase, please type 1 in the chat. If you think that it is operational phase, please type 2. How do you think? Let's check. The first one is communicational, the second one is operational. Some people change their mind and type both options. So you are right. The most of you are right. It is the operational phase. No any communicational phases at all. So the first 2 phases are between sales manager and the client. Starting from this phase, UCC or OCC is the main player. They arrange everything, coordinate, and keep under control. OCC informs about the charter all people who need it. So this is handling agents, this is crew, and they obtain all necessary permits, requests, and services, ramp and cargo handling, refueling, prepare brief package for the crew, taking into account all requirements and limitations. We ensure that client is informed at each stage of the operation, from crew readiness at the airport to refueling, loading, departure, landing, unloading, and charter completion. The next phase is in-flight phase. Everything is clear here, we are in the air, and you maybe will think that nobody involved during this process except of the crew, but it is not true, because our OCC keeps a watchful eye on the flight process, weather conditions, and any potential issues. The next phase, it is final phase, and it is about result. The OCC ensures that the cargo reaches the destination safety and on time, and informs the client that mission is completed. Our team is very proactive, and we always do our best to provide our services tomorrow better than we provided them yesterday. Ladies and gentlemen, I must clarify that making an urgent charter slower is not practice we endorse. However, let's think what we have to do to fail the urgent charter flights. Such fun today in our webinar. So communicate with OCC from time to time. Instead of keeping an open line of communication with the OCC, how about we try a game of phone tag? You know, OCC calls you, you don't pick up, they call again, you don't pick up again, and so on. What will be the result? Chaos. The next advice I can propose, this is don't provide OCC with information they requested. Why provide OCC with information they requested? Let's make them play a guessing game. If something changes, demand, airports, everything to go under the plan. No need to adapt or be flexible. We strict in the script, come rain or shine. And of course, start panicking. If you don't panic, it will not fail our charter flight. Panicking, it is must have. Don't help OCC with permissions, examples, exemptions, and all other information. Just say, I'm sorry, I can't help you with that. It would be great if you also give wrong dimensions and cargo weight. After all, who needs accurate information? It is not like aircraft have weight limits, right? And finally, in case of any changes, just keep them in secret. No need to tell any updates to OCC. And I think if we will do everything we discussed just now, our flight will be failed for sure. So let's come back to reality, where we operate urgent charter flights, not slow ones. Now I want to discuss what information does OCC provide the client with in case of urgent charter flights, what you can expect from our side. They provide the final schedule, taking into account cargo estimated time of arrival to the origin airport. If permits required, OCC will inform the client once all permits in hand. Of course, if something goes wrong, OCC lets you know about it and will offer some solutions for you. Now I will show you what information the client receives from OCC during each flight. These are must-have messages. You will receive them during each flight we will operate for you. So OCC will inform you about actual cargo arrival to the airport, crew arrival to the airport, refueling process, unloads and loading process. Also, OCC will send you for sure all departure and arrival movements. Now we discussed what client will receive from OCC, and now I want to continue my speech and let's discuss what information OCC needs from the client. Not much, in fact, but we need something as well. OCC needs cargo estimated time of arrival to plan schedule accordingly. Daniil and Nikolay already told about this, but I just want to remind. Later, I will explain more detail why this time is too critical to know. Here you can see that OCC also needs cargo documents from the client. It is true, as OCC have to send all docs to the cargo handling agent and ensure that they are ready to handle this cargo, that they have enough of staff and there are no any restrictions for them. But these documents, cargo documents, we need not only for handlers. I want to clarify that we operate flights between within the Europe and sometimes not only between the countries members of European Union. If we operate flights between the countries members of EU, permits for such flights is not required if it is general cargo. If we operate flights from the country which is not EU member, we need permits for sure. We need and landing permits and flight permits. Which documents we need for permits? You can see on the slides that we will need for sure from the client the following: airway bill, cargo manifest, letter of urgency, sometimes we need it. I will explain why later as well. Dangerous good declaration and all other documents in case of dangerous good cargo. Sometimes we need not only documents, but also assistance of the client. Usually it is while we are preparing for the double forbidden cargo flights or military flights. So let's move on. This is where things get interesting. Sometimes cargo has unique needs. For instance, if you are transporting live cargo, you might need temperature control, or perhaps there are specific handling requirements for sensitive equipment. These extra details helps us ensure the cargo safety and well-being during the journey. The next I want to highlight, because it is very important for us, that this information. You can think that it is not serious, but it is really so. It is very important to get from the client these key things which we need to know. The first thing is track plate of the van which delivers the cargo to the airport, and the second one, name and the contact of the driver of the van. It is such usual information, but it is really important. On my next slide, I will show you why it is so, and you will understand that it is really needed for us. So why it is so important? Let's imagine a usual flight. You can see its schedule on your screens. This is usual flight which was planned according to procedures and nobody predicted any problems. Here is the schedule for flight. Positioning to Ostrava, and after that we have a charter flight to Birmingham. Another important point, estimated duty time, you can see on your screen as well. It is 10 hours and 10 minutes. Maximum allowed, you can see it on the slide as well. It is with gray, 12 hours and 30 minutes. So we can allow only 2 hours and 20 minutes for delay for this flight. Let's imagine that two critical things were not provided. The first, this is cargo ETA. It was provided, but update was not provided, that it will arrive 2 hours later. And the second one, truck number plate and driver's contact. However, crew didn't know about this information, so they started their crew duty according to the initial plan. As a result, they are forced to wait on board for 2 hours as the cargo has not arrived yet. When the cargo finally reached the airport, driver and cargo handling couldn't find each other. And it took additional 40 minutes for them to prepare cargo for loading. So we have 2 hours and 40 minutes total delay, but we can allow only 2 hours and 20 minutes. Unfortunately, as a result, crew is not allowed to continue the flight and they need minimum crew rest. Because of this, cargo will be delivered only next day. Only 20 minutes, but it is really critical 20 minutes for this situation. Effective communication and collaboration are key to prevent such scenarios in our real life. To be true, our OCC check-in the cargo ETA with the client before the crew leaves the hotel in our company, but it was just example, and I hope that you understand why it is so critical. Now we discussed which information we need from the client, and the next topic which I want to discuss, this is typical problems and urgent charters in our solutions. I want to focus your attention on this. So the first problem I want to discuss is limited time for permits. Sometimes, according to regulations in some countries, we have to apply for permits 2 or even 5 days prior our departure. But it is not serious for our company. As you know, we usually operate flights when we have to depart today and as soon as possible. We found this following solution for us. We request permit and send letter of urgency to authority to let them understand how it is important to us to deliver cargo today, not in a 1 week. You know, there are a lot of people in this world, and some of them are kind, and some of them are working in the civil aviation authorities. So sometimes we are lucky and we can obtain permits using only the letter of urgency. If letter of urgency is not accepted by CAA, we are looking for partners who are specialized on providing permits and use their services. Sometimes we have to do that. So the next common problem is the cargo delay. Because of cargo delay, we can get more critical issues is just cargo delay itself. I would like to discuss some of them. As I already told you before, we can face the problem with the crew flight duty period limitation. It is like it was in my example for the flight from Ostrava to Birmingham. We needed only 20 additional minutes to operate this flight, but we didn't have it. How can we solve such problem? Our solution is to keep crew at the hotel till the time when we get final cargo estimated time of arrival. It is better to delay flight for 1 or even 2 hours starting from the position in flight than operate it next day due to flight duty period limitations. Usually our OCC informs clients the delay is not possible for this flight and propose to keep crew at the hotel. And of course, clients confirm such scenario as they understand that it is a proactive action from our side to operate this flight smoothly. Another problem which we can face due to cargo delay and as a result flight delay, this is destination airport or handling closure. Sometimes we operate flights to airports which not work 24 hours, 7 days. And this is why we can face such problem. Our OCC team is checking operating hours of all involved into the operation airports and handling. So it can be, if we expect any risk, we monitor the situation, we are checking with handling if extension possible and so on. I started to tell you one of the solutions. So what is the solution? If OCC sees that we are going to arrive later, then everything, then somebody is waiting for us in the at the airport. So first of all, they are checking if extension possible. If it is possible, we always use it, even if we have to pay extra money. As we understand that it is really important for the client to land at the destination airport. What we can do if extension is not possible and aircraft is already loaded and crew ready for departure? Of course, we have to fly. We have to fly to the closest airport agreed with the client. No, any chance, don't fly because of it. We are always prepared for such challenges. You can ask me, what if force majeures? Unfortunately, We can't prevent force majeures. So I want to discuss the problem and share our solutions that we decided to use in our OCC. If the weather destination airport become under minima while aircraft was on the way, sometimes we have such situation, no any other solutions as go to the alternative airport. Once we operated urgent charter flight from Le Bourget to Vigo. Everything was arranged according to our procedures. There were no any problems with this flight, and the weather was good. We didn't expect any troubles with this flight. But 11 minutes before arrival, and we see that our aircraft is diverted to Vitoria. We were really shocked, and we couldn't even imagine real reason for diversion because we could not see any results. We had information that aircraft is okay from technical department. We saw that the weather is good. Then our operational control center contacted Vigo OCC, and they informed that airport is closed as 5 minutes before our, not before our arrival, but 5 minutes ago, let's say 5 minutes before we saw this information, it would be correct version, yes. Another aircraft damaged runway while this aircraft was landing. During the landing, they damaged the runway. How could we predict it? Of course, we could not, and we were ready. OCC and crew had checked NOTAMs before flights, and everything was good. We didn't have any limitations. You know, we find solutions even for force majeures in our company, and it is really an easy action, but we are always on the safe side because of it. Our solution is to agree alternative airports with the client before each flight, even if the weather is good at all airports, and even if we don't have reasons. Some clients are wondering why we are trying to agree alternative if no any reasons for that. They begin worry and ask us what happened, why do you need alternative? Please go to the destination airport. Of course we will go to the destination airport, but it is our solution for force majeure as well. Yes, our OCC use not just alternative airport, which is good from the operational point of view. We use that airport which is good for the client, where they will find truck for delivery, where is quick handling and customs. I'm deeply confident that each our fail makes us more professional company. After each problem, we are trying to find solutions which allow to avoid such issues in the future. Maybe you know that, for example, we created a chatbot in AVEM. You know this for sure because Nikolay already told in his speech about this. And this chatbot monitoring weather and NOTAMs. After this situation with Vigo closure, we made some changes, and our bot started to recheck info not each 30 minutes as it used to do before, but every 10 minutes. It's time to move on. Let's dive to another challenge of urgent charters. Here is the deal. To make this flight successful, everyone involved needs to communicate and collaborate seamlessly. But how to achieve that? Well, we got a solution. We designate a main person, contact person, which is responsible for the flight. This is our OCC manager on shift. This person coordinates all actions with crew, handlings, and of course informs the client directly. So no room for misunderstanding. Because this person knows everything about all processes about this flight. It is time to finish my speech, and I've remembered one more important thing that OCC needs from the client, except the good mood, of course. In case of any issues, it would be really great if client believes that we will solve any problem for sure, And if it is possible, during the urgent charter flights, OCC and client have to act as a team, as a dream team. I want to finalize. So collaboration between OCC and client, understanding of the processes, compliance with procedures and providing all necessary information make our common work efficient, and it is the result allows us to operate all flights successfully. Let me thank you for being here today. Enjoy your life, love your job, and take care of your flights. Thank you. If you have any questions, you can ask me, and I will try to answer.
Thank you, Liliia. We do have some questions in the chat. So the question from Katerina. Fantastic presentation. And the question, could you please describe the service of FlightWatch which you provide your clients with? What software do you use to track your fleet in flight?
In fact, in AVEM Aero, we used, as all people, Flight Radar, but full version. And this is must-have for that countries which are not included to the Europe and which we can't monitor in CHMI, for example. And the other instrument we use, this is CHMI from Eurocontrol. This is special resource. This is even not software, but a resource where we can log in and see all flights, their estimated time of flights, their departures, their arrivals, and everything we need to know about aircraft. We can see in real time how is flying our aircraft as well. So CHMI and Flight Radar.
Thank you. And we have one more question. What CAS are most airline friendly in terms of obtaining the permits?
I can't tell you who are the most friendly. I can tell you who are the strict. For example, UK CAs are very strict in their decisions. If they told that we need 2 days for permits, it is impossible to get permits earlier. We tried before. We had they had some such function for quick for urgent permits. We have to pay some monies. It was legal. Don't be afraid. Everything was it was not corrupted, but now there is no such function, and as a result, we have to apply for permits 2 days before if we don't have block permit for sure. We have block permit for some of our aircraft and still waiting for block permit for our ATR 72, but I hope very soon we will get it as well, and we will not think about these problems with UK CAA. All other CAAs are friendly, and I can't even tell that some of them are not friendly. Just want to tell that some CAAs, they have procedures, and they even don't pick up the telephone when we are calling to them, but they will send you permit according to their procedures. If you send all documents and a letter of urgency, everything should be okay. They will give you permit even if you have to fly today and you had to send it 5 days before. So people everywhere, most of them are kind.
Thank you for answering the questions. And for now, we have no questions. So thank you very much, Liliia. And now actually we have break for 10 minutes. So don't switch off, come back, and we will continue in 10 minutes. See you. friends, we have 5 minutes. So in 5 minutes, we will come back, join us. Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. So we continue our event and our next speaker is CEO at Air Charter Service in Germany, Caroline Werf. Caroline?
Thank you very much for the introduction. Hope you can all hear me. Let me share my screen.
Yeah, we can hear. Thank you.
Yes, you can see the presentation, yeah?
For now, no, but need to wait maybe. Yeah, now we have it. Thank you.
Great. So first of all, thanks very much to our friends at AVEM to invite me to participate in this webinar today. So I will speak a bit about urgent cargo charters from the perspective of a charter brokerage. So who are we? Air Charter Service is a global leader in aircraft chartering. We were founded in 1990 and employ about 600 aviation experts around the world across 31 offices. We do arrange 28,000 flights annually, and our revenue in 2020 exceeded $1.3 billion. So who am I? My name is Caroline. I'm 38 years old, always had a passion for aviation and travel. I did study aviation management at the University of Bad Honnef-Bonn and have a total of 17 years experience in the aviation industry. I joined ACS in 2012 as a cargo charter broker and took over the lead on ACS's Germany office in 2015. I currently have 15 employees on my team with the intention to grow further. So why urgent cargo charters? There's always an underlying issue of some sort. For example, you name it, production line stops, roadblocks, port strikes, flights or requirements to remote locations, cancellation of scheduled service flights. Meaning, as there is an underlying issue, we're always problem solving, may it be the broker or the airline. What we offer at ACS, besides cargo aircraft charters, is time-critical logistics and OBC, group travel, private travel, travel services, and aircraft leasing. What we do as a broker, first of all, understand our customers' needs. Second of all, source the right aircraft, recommend the customer some options, and match the. So to understand our clients' key requirements, we need to look at schedule, price, capacity. Schedule always depends cargo origin, destination, delivery deadlines, cargo readiness. Is the price driven? Is it price driven or is the schedule the driving factor? And the capacity. Are there any permits that need to be obtained? Loadability of the cargo, reliability and communication. So we're then rating the priorities of our customer and according to that source the best available aircraft. I usually tend to give my customer 3 different options, depending on the quickest one can pick according to their needs. And as John Ruskin once said, it's unwise to pay too much, but it's worse to pay too little, which some in this market definitely can take to heart. He continues that the common law of business balance prohibits paying a little and getting a lot. It can't be done. If you deal with the lowest bidder, it is well to add something for the risk you run. And if you do that, you will have enough to pay for something better. Let's come to managing the flight. Our account managers are in constant contact with our support departments, which are our customer support team. Depending on the area in the world where the flight happens, our global network, our in-house operations team, and the in-house legal and compliance team, who are always checking in the background that AOC and insurance documents for the flight are in order. The account manager's duties, for example, just to name a few, contacting the airports and the ground handling for coordination, for example, delivery, pickup, screening, etc. Permit applications where applicable, deal with subcontractors like trucking companies, reporting every operational milestone to the client, and obviously, and very important, constant communication with the operator. This is our global network. As I said before, we're obviously in this webinar concentrating on European Go Now charters, but we do have them in the US, for example, as well. So we would then reach out to get the local expertise from one of our offices over there to provide the best possible service to our clients. The in-house operations team flight monitors 24/7 and gives real-time updates on, for example, weather issues, the flight progress, or any airport-related issues such as closures and runway works. So let's talk about a couple of case studies. This one was one that we did with our dear friends at AVEM Aero. It was a spare parts flight to Turkey. A former colleague of ours emailed with a request to move urgent spare parts to Turkey. The solution: we sourced AVEM's Saab 340, booking came in 1 p.m. UK time, ETD was planned the following morning. All the documents for the permit application were only received in the evening, which made it quite difficult to foresee if the flight could go as planned. The finer details: a letter of urgency and stamped airway bills were needed in order to speed up the permits. Permit was received early morning hours the next day, and I believe everybody that has operated a Go Now flight into Turkey knows that it is quite early. In the meantime, the aircraft had already positioned to Vatry in order to save time. So there were, in the end, minor to no delays as a result. This is another automotive spare parts. This is another automotive spare parts case study. One of our clients approached us late in the evening with a very small but urgent shipment to the US to prevent a line stop the next morning at their customer's production facility. Our solution was, as all scheduled flights to the US had already left Germany for the day, onboard courier shipment wasn't possible anymore. And together with our private jet department here in Frankfurt, we quickly sourced a suitable aircraft to fly the route nonstop, making sure that the aircraft would land around 2 a.m. in the morning in the US, which was well ahead of the predicted line stop, which was supposed to happen at 6 in the morning. The cargo readiness was slightly delayed, hence the operation needed to be diverted last minute to a 24-hour airport in the closer vicinity of Frankfurt, with ACS arranging a last-minute truck to divert the cargo. I always say good supplier relationships are worth gold. Using our well-established industry contacts, we were then able to arrange X-ray out of hours at the final departure airport, with getting one of their employees in after hours, after the carrier had initially received not possible as an answer. I think it is very important for brokers to get involved, especially for these types of transports, as obviously for a private jet, this is not a day-to-day business, hence they don't have the right connections with their handling agents, for example. Here's another one, keeping car production up to speed. With an automotive factory at risk of halting production, we helped arrange the rapid delivery of 7 tons of vital electrical components. Within 30 minutes, an ACS account manager in Paris sourced the jet with the right capacity and within budget. He then worked to ensure a smooth transfer from the aircraft to the factory, arranging airside access for the haulier. He made sure all the customs documentation was completed in advance, and after takeoff, he tracked the flight from start to finish, keeping everybody informed. On arrival, the shipment was transferred to waiting lorries, and the parts were at the factory within 11 hours. 24/7 support is vital for us. When the call came in at 1 in the morning, our team immediately took action and were on hand to deal with any glitches en route. Real-time tracking, the client's dedicated account manager kept a close eye on the flight's progress and ensured everyone was kept up to speed. Yeah, coming from the automotive part of the business, which is obviously, I think, in most cases, the reason for a Go Now charter, we here have an example of life-saving medication to Lebanon. As the world went into lockdown due to COVID-19, a freight forwarder had asked us to urgently transport a life-saving medication from France to a sick child in Beirut. The cargo was originally booked onto a scheduled passenger flight, which then, as we all remember, all got cancelled as borders were closed. Our solution was that the cargo needed to arrive in Beirut within 48 hours in order to save the child's life. We sourced a jet that could complete the return flight to and from Beirut within a single crew shift. Initially, the Lebanese CAA refused the permit application, but after proving to them that there would be no passengers on board, we eventually were granted the permit. Using our superior knowledge and industry context, we were able to source an aircraft and provide a quote within minutes of the request coming in. So to conclude, what makes a charter successful? I think communication is key. That means constant information flow, reachability, especially out of hours, immediate reporting of issues between the operator and the broker, and of course the customer, coming up with solutions together, as nothing is worse than losing valuable time through bad or slow communication during an urgent cargo charter or any charter really. The speed of operation, obviously, it's vital to providing documents on time, clarifying any outstanding questions with the client ASAP in order to ensure a smooth charter. Also, I think we all know there's always problems that have never occurred before. Foreseeing any potential issues is always a good plan, and working on backup plans just in case. And the last point, I think it's important to working on eye level and hand in hand with the airline. That's it from my part. Do you have any questions?
Thank you, Caroline. Yeah, we do some questions in the chat. So, and the first question is from Vanessa. Caroline, did you not get objections from Turkish carriers on the XCR IST flight?
No, we did not get any objections on this occasion.
Thank you. So next question from Daniil. Could you please share your ideas regarding the trends observed in the charter market? What is your opinion on the prospects of using the AN12?
The AN12, well, as long as we can use this.
Caroline? Hi, Caroline, I'm so sorry for interrupting. We can't hear you. It might be because of the connection issues. Okay, guys. Let's wait a little bit. Maybe we will figure out it. Let's wait about 1 minute. We'll try to find solution to figure out some issues, technical issues. Thank you.
Hello, I think I'm back. Sorry about that. We have some internet issues.
Thank you. Thank you, Caroline. So I will send one more time the question because unfortunately, because of the connection, we didn't hear the answer. So could you please share your ideas regarding the trends observed in the charter market? What is your opinion on the prospects of using the AN12? Thank you.
Well, I think first and foremost that the AN12 is a workhorse of a plane. Obviously, the aircraft are quite old, but we will certainly make use of them as long as we can, because it has some unique capabilities for loadability, obviously, and quite flexible in terms of operation.
Okay, thank
Liliia,
you.
may I ask you a question, please? Yeah, in person. I have actually two questions, and let's start from what is the most interesting charter you have ever did in your experience?
Oh, wow. Yeah, I get that question. I get that question quite a lot. And it's so hard to tell really, because there've been so many memorable ones.
But for sure you remember one, for sure.
Yes, of course, I remember so many. I once helped a world record driver to fly over Syria. They were going from the Northern Cape to Cape Town, to the Cape of Good Hope, in a Volkswagen Touareg. And obviously, due to security reasons, they couldn't drive through Syria, which was part of the route. So I flew them, I think, from Adana into Amman, across Syria, and it was like a minutiously planned operation. So the aircraft was landing, he was arriving in the car, open gates, just went in, and off we went. That was certainly one of the more memorable and fun ones.
Super, thank you. Another question is, when you have a choice of operator and they have mostly the same charter price, how do you make a decision?
Well, in the end, I let the customer make the decision on most occasions. I mean, there will always
they are relating on your opinion.
Of course, I always recommend, as I said in my presentation, the most reliable operator. So that obviously is then relying on previous operations we've done together, but there might be then slight differences in the possible takeoff time. And then, yeah, as I said, I'll present most of the time 3 options to my clients, and then we'll recommend one that I would like them to book. But obviously, it's not always down to the broker, but we can certainly influence it.
Okay, but I'm sure you really could help to your client to choose the right one. And also a question.
Yes.
We have a feeling that the market is not really have a short memory. For example, if the operator lets you down once, you may forget about it in 1 month, and you will choose it again because of the price. What do you think about this?
It can certainly happen. It can also happen with our customers. So you need to constantly remind people that you're there, that you're able to help. And obviously, one charter that might go a bit wrong doesn't ruin, in most of the occasions, the complete relationship to an operator. But yeah, I think it's important that you keep reminding brokers to ask you to use you.
Okay, I see. Thank you very much, Carolina.
Thank you.
Answers. And thank you very much for being with us. It's very important. It was very important. It was very supportive. Thank you. I know you had issues with the technical support, and you manage everything. So we are working as on charter. So it was not possible, but we did it. But you did it. Thank you.
Exactly.
Well done.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Caroline. Thank you, Nikolay, for your questions. Okay, so we keep going, and our next speaker will be Operational Director at ZEUS Aero, Nicolas Yanssen. Welcome, Nicolas.
Good afternoon to everybody. Let's put everything a bit okay. So we would like to address some points in choosing the best airport and handling agent for your next urgent charter. We think it's very important that you operate to an airport where you know that everything will be taken care of. Our company was founded 5 years ago, at the same time as AVEM was started. Firstly, initially as a broker, part of the aviation factory that is well known for passenger charters. But seeing the market and how it developed, we saw here at our local airport that there was a need for somebody or a company to streamline operations here, because most of the time there was lack of communication between airport handling agent, fuel handling agent, or vice versa. Also, everything was cash basis. So before your flight would take off, you would need to go and pay navigation fees directly, the handling directly, losing valuable time. Because of this, we started initially for a couple of clients to help them with customs paperwork or supervise their flights, communication with the handling agents. And actually this has grown since 2019 with about 250% on time critical flights here at Ostend. Our role has also developed from one handling agent to two ramp handling agents, and then streamlining up to 15, 16 flights a day, also with customs paperwork, trucking, etc., etc. So we do believe that choosing an airport to do your flight needs to be well considered. It's not only the closest airport that might be the best solution, especially when flying to big hubs. It can take a long time to get cargo from the plane to the truck. So here we tend to make sure that the cargo reaches the truck, if it's a big load, within 30 minutes. If it's small, like one pallet, even within 5 minutes, to get the cargo quickly to the end user or the factory. That's our aim. And while doing so, we want to clear all the hassle for everybody. We keep in contact with the broker or the agent that is arranging the flight. We keep in contact with the carrier so that everybody has an all-in package, so they don't have to worry. Everything is taken care of, navigation fees, handling fees, hour fees, everything. And everything is one invoice for the complete service. So that is our aim every day. We are a small team. We are only with 3, sometimes 4 people that work mostly on ad hoc basis. So this means we are here when we need to be here, mostly at night, as everybody knows. But there's not a single flight that passes that we are not there on site. So we must be here just to keep communication. We have a lot of drivers that lack the English language. We go and we take the driver from the parking lot, we bring them to the loading place, and we streamline so everything goes quickly and efficiently, and so the customer can shine to his customer. That's our motto as well. It's we go the extra mile so you can make the difference. So it's really important that the communication is there, and that's what we help with in order to make sure that you shine to your clients. Apart from this, we also offer several customs like import documents, export documents, T1 documents, and we do this 24/7 because the document is also made locally here by us. So this takes away a lot of hassle, especially with some clients, shippers that cannot raise after office hours or things like that. We have a can-do attitude, meaning we never say no straight away. We try to make sure that we succeed in order for you to succeed as well. That is our mission. So apart from this, I have already mentioned it, the time critical flights with aircrafts below 45 tons have increased between 200 and 250% here at Oosten Bruges Airport, which is our operations base, mostly because we have a big Volvo plant nearby. So 90% of the flights are import flights as well, with goods coming to join the final assembly. But we have now seen increased flying also between Ostend and the UK, mostly because of Brexit. We have a lot of flights coming here to pick up a load in order to fly to the UK, where we do the export clearance, mostly because of delays in transit by trucks or vice versa. So, and then we just prepare the export document, make sure that cargo quickly gets screening. We have 24/7 screening without time slots, without anything. That makes life easy as well and makes us very flexible. So apart from our perspective, Ostend is the most flexible airport where we can be, being 24/7 operations, day and night. And also the handling agent is 24/7, customs is 24/7, screening is 24/7, making sure that we are spot on the best solution for any time critical flight into Western Europe. So apart from this, we also offer several services also to the scheduled airlines that fly here, meaning Egypt Air Cargo and Qatar Airways. We do trucking for them, customs work and everything. So all in all, we hope we do a good job, but seeing we were invited to speak here as only a small handling and supervising agent, I do believe we are doing a good job. So if there would be any questions, I would be happy to answer them.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Nicolas. So yeah, we do have questions in the chat.
I was hoping so.
Yeah. So, and the first question, do you plan to expand your service to other airports? And do you use any systems that allows API integration to be able to request service online and automatically receive confirmation? If you do not use it, do you plan to implement such systems? This is the question.
Yes, we do not at this point plan to expand to other airports, mostly because other airports see different major handling agents already. So we cannot make a real difference there. And also local procedures is one of the most important things. The local contacts with customs, police, handling agents is very important for what we do. Regarding API and stuff like that, we have agreements with the handling agents, which flights that are managed by us are immediately accepted. If, for example, there are other flights at the same time, with our own team, we have licenses to perform the handling ourselves, worst case. So then we use the license of a handler and we operate under their umbrella. But our own staff will connect the GPU, offload the aircraft, take care of the crew, take care of everything. So that is our fail-safe then. We did not have to implement it much, but it has happened on occasions that we had to do the handling ourselves because of other scheduled flights at the same time, or especially also during COVID, we had the problem where a lot of the staff was absent. And then we had to jump in several times in order to perform the flight and the handling of the flight.
May I please ask one additional question, Nicolas? I'm asking just from some practical side, because let's imagine, so thanks to you again for your high level of service. Please believe me, we have several cases to compare. And my practical question, for example, when we have a charter, how we can manage it to send automatic request to your handling company and receive automatic answer, to just to avoid communication by email, just to avoid communication by phone. Is it possible somehow, maybe in nearest future, or what are you thinking about it? It's, main idea, is it possible to create something like Uber in charter flights? For example, if you received a request, we can automatically send this information to you, and then receive confirmation that definitely at this schedule our aircraft will be handled. Thank you.
We have to see if it might be implementable in our system. Our system that we use now is not designed for handling duties or anything. It has been upgraded or tweaked in order to perform the way we want it to perform. Automatic email or acceptance might be possible in the system now, but I still prefer the yeah, maybe the human touch might be that we are a bit scared of AI and hooks and APIs still at this point, because of a lot of what we do is still point-to-point and contact with people. So far, we have not refused any flights in the 4 years of our existence. We had one flight, I think, where we couldn't perform because of state variation on dangerous goods. But apart from that, every flight has been accepted always. So from there on forwards, we hope to be able to continue to do that. We are now working on a new integration with the general aviation terminal here as well. So we can put a third option as another option for handling, all under the same umbrella, so we can always deliver.
Okay, thank you. So we have
Nicolas,
one more.
sorry, I have
Yep.
one more questions. I'm completely agree with Daniil. We're so happy to cooperate with you, and you are very helpful all the time. As we are not, and thank you, Daniil, for your questions. I think this is really future of digitalization in our market. It's to have API between all players on the market. Of course, as Simon said, it's not possible to avoid humans. Humans will stay the key person and the key factor on our operations, but we do need, I think, some kind of automation. But this actually webinar is focusing also for how to create and how we can be more helpful to each other, how to make our cooperation better and more efficient, more effective, smoothly. And I would like to ask you, until we are not ready for any API integration, how we can do our cooperation better now. For example, you need more information from our side. We can send you email in some specific format or whatever. How we can do it in a more efficient and easy way.
I think the communication now at this point is already quite good. The information we get mostly directly first the carrier, and then the broker or agent takes contact as well, informing about a lot of things. The info that's always the last to receive is when the cargo will arrive and what the cargo exactly is. We have instances where cargo is declared or pre-advised as 2 pallets with just general cargo, and then it arrives and it's actually 5 pallets with dangerous goods, which can cause delay.
Yeah,
for sure, because then you have to do DGR check. Screening is different as well for dangerous goods. And yeah, of course, you pre-alert something, you stack up manpower to do that specific thing. 2 pallets, it's only easy. Then if you have 5 pallets with the weight doubling, it can cause a lot of problems that you have to solve then on the spot. But I think this is also where some of the handling agents at bigger airports tend to stay away from our kind of flights, or are a bit, is because of the tendency that everything needs to go quick and sometimes lack of information.
Okay, I'm not sure if you have been with us at the beginning from where I presented our step-by-step guide, and just from the handling perspective, are you agree with all we have discussed, or you have some comments?
I have to be honest, I didn't follow the complete webinar. I was busy on several other things.
Okay,
So if you could specify how you see the handling side of things, it would be great.
Yeah, okay. No, I'm not going to repeat it again now, but
okay, so
Nicolas, thank you very much for being with us today on our webinar. It was very interesting and helpful. I hope all we are closing, we are staying, we will be close to each other. I mean, not physically, but in business means. And I wish you good luck, because as you said, you are 5 years old already, and we are like new entrepreneurs on our market, like a new players. So best regards to you, and hope we can do something more in the future.
For sure, the future will bring a lot of excellent work.
Yeah, thank you very much, and have a nice day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Nicolas. Thank you, Nicolas. Thank you very much. Okay, so guys, Nicolas, are you with us still? Because we have one more question in the chat.
Okay, to Nicolas, or to me?
Nicolas.
Nicolas, can we ask you to come back for a moment?
Yeah, if it is possible. Are you with us? Oh, I think maybe later you will have time. Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much, friends, for staying with us, being with us, and should say that today's webinar will be concluded by Managing Director at AVEM Aero, Nikolay Kurbanov. Welcome, Nikolay.
Thank you, and as I promised, I would like to no, just a second. Hold on. I would like to describe you the best and most challenging charter experience we ever had in AVEM Aero. So let me share just a simple presentation just for a you understanding. So 1 year ago, we have operated the flight out of Birmingham to El Riyadh, and this was so interesting and so the best charter we ever did, because it was so complicated and we never believed we could do it, but we finally complete successfully on time. But let me say in some details. You know how it is working, that most of the strange thing happening on the Friday evening when you are just thinking about the glass of wine or glass of beer, and at the end of the day we have an email with a request to operate dangerous goods out of UK to Saudi Arabia. Most of the people will think that it shouldn't go, it will not work, or something else, and maybe will not send a quote. But we believe that every quote should be quoted. Sorry for this. And most strange thing happening sometimes, and we have even saying that the wooden stick could shot once a year. And we did a quote. We quoted Friday evening, and we most forget about the next day, and next morning, Sunday, and we stated in our quotation that we can operate the flight. We saw the when the cargo should be arrived to Saudi Arabia, but we think maybe it's mistake, because it's not possible to operate dangerous goods, let's say in 2-3 days in our Saudi Arabia, because you should at least to get an exemption, operations, and so. But we said, okay, we can do the flight, but it will take at least 10-15 days to obtain everything. And I was very surprised next morning to get the call from the client, and he said, Nikolay, the flight is confirmed. I was very shocked, because, you know, that the quote was most expensive quote we ever did, most probably. And he said, and then I said, okay, no problem, we could try. But you should understand for such cargo you have to obtain a lot of permissions. First of all, we have to get the exemption from our SAE to operate dangerous goods flights, which is double forbidden. It means it's forbidden to operate on cargo aircrafts and also in passenger aircrafts. That's why we have to get a special exemption to operate the cargo on cargo plane. And then we have to obtain every single request for overflying, landing, and so on. And he said, it's no problem. He said, the client will help us to provide all permissions needed. And we strictly and we clearly declared that what is really our responsibility to get this and what is the client responsibility. And we decided to split this whole operation for 2 stages. The first stage was to operate the flight till Sofia. Why? Because in Europe it is less complicated or more easy to get all permissions, but in Cairo, especially in Cairo, in Egypt, it was very difficult to get the permission for landing there for fuel stop, and of course Saudi Arabia. I didn't mention that the cargo was fireworks for the palace. In El Riyadh, there was some very famous gaming exhibition, and for the end of this exhibition, they supposed to use these fireworks. So they needed exactly for an exact time and exact date, yeah, and otherwise it is not needed. And we agreed with the client that, and then we start negotiation. Okay, but what will happen in case we will operate the flight to Sofia and we will complete our part? Yeah, we will do the first stage, and then we didn't get the permission of Egypt and El Riyadh. And the client that said, please, Nicola, don't worry, I will pay you in advance the whole amount and you will completely secured. And then it was, once again, I was in shock. Okay, this is super complicated flight, but the client really wants to operate it. And we say, and then we decided, okay, we will do our best. In case we have just one chance of 1,000, we can do it. We will get it. And then we'll start preparations. We prepared the aircraft was we prepared Excel file where we stated all permissions and all important actions we have to do, and then we divided what is our responsibility and what is responsibility of the client, and we openly share this to the client. So it was completely clear what is who should do. Sorry, who is responsible for what? Sorry. After that, we should start our position in flight from Baden-Baden, and we faced 3 really huge problems. The first one, at that time, most of you maybe remember this, that the Birmingham airport was so busy, and they were not have any slots available for overnight parking. That means we are not able to come earlier to have a crew rest there. We should position the aircraft, and then we have to go straight away within 1 hour. Another one, that it was we didn't get export license for such cargo from UK government, and we should wait until we get it. Another problem, it's like angles where we could stop. You know, that another issue was that we were already on limit to reach Bulgaria on time. To reach Bulgaria on time, we should depart exactly on 11:30, because afterwards, each 15 minutes will cut the crew duty time. And it means if we could depart later for half an hour, we couldn't reach Bulgaria on time, and then all operation will be failed. And on the date of operation, we decided doesn't matter if we get the exemption from UK or not, the crew will stay and ready for departure on that specific time, on 11:30. I clearly remember that. And you never believe that just 1 hour before departure, we get that clearance. So we were proactive, and we were one step ahead, and we were able, and we were ready for departure on time. And finally, we departed and started positioning flight to Birmingham, get the cargo. Everything was smoothly. Thank you very much to Blue City Aviation and to Mike Hill. He was very helpful then. Then we did the flight to Bulgaria with few stop in Germany, Frankfurt, but this is nothing special. I'm going to talk about this. And then as soon as we arrived to Sofia, we faced again another challenges, because now we released the crew for crew rest, and now we have started to wait until the Egypt will issue the permission, because upon arrival to Sofia, we already get the permission of Saudi Arabia, and the only question was with Egypt, and it was very most complicated thing. And we realized that the crew will be ready. The crew will be ready for departure at midnight, and we were not sure when we get this permission of Egypt. And we also try to be proactive, and we have asked handling agent in Sofia to be ready to handle our flight at night anytime we need, just to be sure as soon as the permission arrived, we are ready to depart anytime, because we could think that, okay, we may get the permission at late night, and then we will try to approach handling, and then we will be so surprised to know they're not able to handle the flight, and this will break everything. Yeah, we did a good job to arrive on time in Bulgaria. We faced a lot of issues, and we managed all of this, but then we could lose everything we done just by such stupid mistakes. So, and again, we never believe that we get the permission, because it's really complicated. And finally, we get the permission, and we started the flight to El Riyadh. And it's then it was so smoothly, because we spent so many time for preparing. And also, I forgot to mention very, very important thing. We realized that we have to have a lot of attention, or how to say, and that's why we have created Google Room. I mean, like a Google Meet, but we call it Google Room, because two of our supervisor and our OCC on duty were staying there just to watching and to be updated all the time. And when we have some questions, I could enter the room and we can discuss it. So everyone was updated. And this is also makes, and I think it's bring a lot of it's make this possible. And finally, we arrived to Elrad exactly on time. And the client was happy. We were so happy and so proud about this flight, and also our team. So this is what I would like to say about this most exciting flight we ever did. If you have any questions regarding this, please don't hesitate and ask me. I will happy to answer you.
Okay, thank you, Nikolay. We don't have questions in the chat, so should say thank you so much, and that's the end of the webinar. Hope all you friends got some insights and useful information for implementing it in your practice. Thank you for the opportunity to be the tiny part of this event. Thanks to all the creators, speakers, and participants of the webinar. Hope to see you all soon. And just a reminder that we will send certificates and recording of this webinar to all our attendees. Goodbye and see you soon.
Thank you very much to all. Thank you.